Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Chestnut Checkers. I am Keith Riddle, as always, here with my co-host Jordan Tampien. And today's guest is another real estate heavy. I think we've only had one other real estate person on here. Steve Jones was the only other. We kind of shied away from that, but
Realtor. We had Jim Orcutt, but a commercial.
That's right.
Residential real estate. We've only had
But today's guest is Zak Allen. How are we doing, Zak?
Welcome.
Good. Thanks for having me on. Am I your youngest guest?
Ooh, I don't know. How old? I don't know.
32.
How old are you?
32.
You're 32? Probably.
I've been making jokes.
You've been making jokes?
You might be our youngest guest.
We're
gonna reach a whole new demographic with this one.
How old is Joel Barber? Is he?
Oh, he's. I mean, I'm not gonna say Joel. Probably about 40.
Okay, yeah, probably. He's the only other person I would think would be even remotely close, but. At any rate, you're the youngest one.
So we're gonna expect the most out of you.
Okay, I'm ready.
We may or may not release this episode. So.
Good. I'm ready for the Gulag.
This is our test.
Me and Zak actually shot a podcast once, and but
it
my
was
mics
actually so good.
My mics were all screwed up, and it was terrible. The camera died. Remember, one of the cameras died.
It was so good too. We had some good stuff on there.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean,
the world will never know.
We'll never know. But it was it was fun to do, and then I was like, oh, this is.
But now you have this thing.
Now I have a Brennan, which is way better than trying to shoot a podcast by yourself. So Zak, give us a little bit of a head start here on your background. But I always ask this for Spokane native.
Mm-hmm. Yep, born and raised. I went to Freeman High School.
Nice.
Out in the boonies.
Out in the boonies.
Yep.
And 32. So what year did you graduate? Because I always
2012.
2012. That is so crazy.
Yeah, I just finished law school at that point. It is weird feeling old. I haven't felt old in many conversations because typically I'm the younger guy in the group, and I've got to more and more groups, and I'm the old guy. It's man, I gotta figure out a way to feel younger.
Well, lately we've been recruiting or just naturally getting all these young people, so 20 to 25.
Yeah,
and they're calling me Unk.
They call you Unk?
That generation's slang, but they're like, "What's up, Unk?" And I'm like, "Fuck."
Is that 32. Boomer for?
Basically.
Yeah, dude. I'm I'm only 32. And they're just like, "Yeah, Unk." I'm like, I'm starting to feel old now, which not good.
That's about right. I mean, when I started. It was 31 when we started 4 Degrees. Mm-hmm. Right in that space, and again felt like the young guy, and then now I'm the old guy. Man, remember when we used to do it? I'm I stopped saying that now. It's out of my vocabulary. Remember when?
Remember when?
I don't use remember when anymore. I'm just don't need to date myself at this point. It's so crazy. I'm thinking about that old.
Well, the thing that always blows my mind, and this is having kids now, is just thinking back, and I feel and I'm older than both of you guys, but I feel like my generation or right around was the precipice for experiencing almost every sort of tech.
Oh, yeah.
So when I was a kid, which was 80s, right? Early 80s, record players were still a thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I saw record players, 8-tracks, cassettes, CDs, DVDs, V8, the whole 9 yards. And now we're to this point where it's all cell phone and everything. But I'm my kids' experience was when they came in is my kids just smartphone and beyond. They don't even literally. We were cleaning something out the other day, and my daughter saw a VHS tape player thing. Yeah. It was the player, not the. And she was like, "Dad, what's that?" And I'm like, "Dude,
I don't even explain this.
How do you even explain prior to internet? Really?
Yeah. Well, I had
connectivity.
I had brothers that were your age, and I grew up on Atari, Super Nintendo, Game Boy. So I was kind of
the good one.
That again, the beginning of tech.
I was at that, the tail end of before it probably got crazy.
Home tech and the beginning of computers, in general, IBM and the home computer. Huge. It was a green. What they call it black and white. It was a green and black screen with a little cursor. It was crazy.
God,
those things were thousands of dollars in the 80s. You'd go somewhere. It was a super novelty. I had a buddy of mine's dad who taught high school at Central Valley.
Well, schools would have just had.
He had a computer, but no, they didn't. I mean, I'm talking my grade school. I think had 4 computers, and you had computer hour class, and they'd send the kids there.
Yeah, my
and
daughter has
play.
one kindergarten. She keeps talking about some computer she logs onto or something at school and does.
Oh, I'm sure they all have them now.
Yeah. Logan has a laptop she brings home.
Yeah, kids now get a laptop when they walk in and a laptop when they walk out.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And she does it's funny to watch that transformation from those parts.
I get it, and there is also some weird thing about there's certain there's certain things that are skills that I think that will always translate. Like for me, like, I don't know, something like sharpening a knife, right? Like I'm like, well, that's a good skill to always have. But like, I don't know, like typing, like, is that gonna, like in my mind, I'm like, always, but then I'm like, I don't know, it's because it's kind of gone to thumbs now. And then with AI stuff, pretty soon people will be able to do it with the eyes or the speed. I'm like, like will we all talk someday about like, remember when we used to type?
Yeah.
Like we used to actually use a keyboard.
Yeah, do you type emails now? Still?
Do I type emails if I'm on a computer?
Still?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I don't type anymore.
You just dictate everything
right into ChatG, clean it up, and then send it.
Yeah.
Like Joel, actually, the guy who taught me was Joel, and I'm like, oh, how did he tell me this? Because Joel, my brother, I hope he's listening. Least technical savvy, just kind of a like old school by the book. And he goes, "What? You're still typing emails?" I'm like,
"You're like, okay,
yeah,
I need to step up."
And it's even faster. And I'm like, "Oh, all right, there goes typing."
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I say, and again, I don't know. It's like, how long do you hold on to that stuff?
Not very long. I think passes you by pretty quick when you realize you're like, wait a second. It allows you to so how you do it, just bullet point.
Yeah.
Call, hey, Zach, thanks for coming on the podcast. Excited to see where business goes. Let me know where we can help. And then what it'll do is take those 3 comments, add some filler, and then send. And something that typing it out or thinking, even the thought process.
Well, even if your chat gets to know you, it can kind of know like how you would say things.
Yeah. Well, and it's like it gets to the point where you're sending it to a person and they're on their phone or computer and they're like, "Hey Siri, read that email that Jordan sent to me."
It's just AI sending it to us.
And it's like, Jordan says, "Thanks for coming on the." It's like none of us are actually doing it. It's just all AI talking to itself.
Yeah, it's getting crazy, dude.
Our AIs are going to become friends.
They'll be doing the podcast. We'll be watching.
For us. Yeah. Probably do a little better.
Have you guys named your AI yet?
No, my daughter calls it Linda. I'm not sure why.
Yours?
Yeah, because
I created a custom chat. I call her Pepper.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll throw back to Tony Stark.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is funny though, like because I think it's a good segue into some stuff. But like, it is funny the things that don't change. Like the market doesn't really change a ton. Like the fundamentals of them, the over leverage, the different parts that don't like. But I also think it's this unique age. Like we're working on with a software that now will be able to, because we have trouble with move in, move outs on rentals, where it's like like when you pick up your car, there's damage and you have to account for it. Well, when you move in, it's like, well, carpet's in okay shape. Well, then they move out and they're like, well, isn't it still in okay shape? I'm like, no, that's $5,000 worth of damage. Yeah. So it's this like 3D software. They'll scan the room for a move-in, walk through.
Wow. Sweet.
3D on the way out. And then what I'm working on is how do you get it to assess the damage of drywall repair, $500, roof leak, $700. Like pretty soon, it'll be like, wait, you can't argue. Well, that's what the carpet looked like before. This is what it looks like now.
Dude, yeah. The home inspections go so fast.
Yeah.
Because, I took pretty much a 2-year break from selling homes, had Ellie do it. So I've been getting back into it just because, like I don't mind it. Getting kind of bored. But just went to one, and then the guy was everything on his iPad and it was just done in like an hour. Yeah. And he was like, here you go. And it's all there. It's like writing itself, like as he's taking these pictures and typing in notes. And it's like, holy crap, this used to take 3 or 4 hours back like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And now he's doing this in like an hour and a half. And it's all in the report's done as he's leaving the driveway.
Exactly. Instead of a 3-day turn on it.
Like,
and that's what it's doing, is like speeding up everything. Things that had some lag time have no lag time now. And then where you miss out is you are still the guy writing it all down or typing it.
This was not my thought, but I was listening or hearing. Can't remember where I came up with, like, I was listening to another podcast, but somebody was talking about the idea of how someday the imperfection will become the sought.
Yes.
So they were like talking about like, you go out to get sushi, and nowadays it's all like, it's the perfect sushi, right? Like it's like, it's sliced right, and they have, and there's like sushi chefs in the world that people will pay millions of dollars to like make them their sushi because they just like have the whatever. And now they're talking about like they have automated sushi machines that can like cut it and grade it, But what happens when like the world becomes perfect or perfection becomes the thing, right? Like your suit's always pressed perfectly, your house is always cleaned perfectly, like robots, whatever. It's like someday like people will think back and they'll be like, dude, remember like, when we used to make our own sushi or whatever. It's just like it'll be the miscuts, or it'll be like the misflavors, or it'll be like, oh, it got whatever wrapped wrong. It's like, I don't know. Then will that be like the $3,000 roll?
Did you see Elon's making a robot for your house?
Oh, like millions of them.
Yeah.
Dude,
millions of them.
I kind of want one.
And of course, it just makes sense. Like that's a funny thing. It's just convenience. Like there was one, Bezos has a talk where he says that eventually you won't actually have to work. And you'll make money because in theory, then you think about like, how do you go make money?
Yeah.
Well, we don't make any of this podcast, so that's a bad example. Let's look at like going to work. I help you sell a house, right? Well, what if you had a system that helps people buy and sell and trade houses? And
Well,
then
it'll
you're
be
collecting on it.
ownership of the
Of the
systems of the
technology,
things, right?
yeah.
But there's so many people on the face of the planet that that'll be near impossible. So it'll turn into socialism and communism at some point.
Oh yeah, I mean,
But
all
in a
those
different,
guys say
if
that,
it, yeah, in a different format.
They say it's
right?
gonna be like universal basic income, like everyone will get like
Yeah.
to live.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that.
You know, Elon has literally said, like, or a lot of these, like, you know, World Economic Forum guys have been saying, like, if you're gonna work in the future, it's because you want to, not because you have
Yeah.
to, which is like kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And they're like all saying it. And you're like,
But think of like what
Oh,
when a farmer and all of a sudden they're out there with their 6 kids tilling up a piece of ground and some guy comes by and says, "Hey, with this tractor, you're not going to need 6. We can do it with 1."
Right.
That would have been crazy to them too.
yeah,
to
Yeah,
think that
and I
you
don't
could
think the some of those jobs, like the dirtier, dustier jobs, I wonder if they're kind of more safe. I don't know, like how robotics and
they
equipment
can't figure
will
out
do
the
in
hands,
like
the people's hands.
yeah, or like even in like real dusty scenarios, like coal mines, or in like real dust. Like I don't know how dust and dirt's gonna go well with electronics and
Yeah. From what I've seen, they can't figure out how to really replicate the human hand. So a lot of those intricate movements are going to be tough. Maybe like a doctor, it's different, but like, you know, electrician, you got to get up in tight spaces stuff.
Yeah,
I think they'll start creating and making things different, right?
to accommodate that.
To accommodate the
Yeah.
way
Like
that
new
the
houses,
robotics needs to.
New houses will all of a sudden be something like
They'll be
serviced
framed
by
differently. They'll be whatever. Like the actual construction of them will be a little bit different to accommodate robotics and.
That. Yeah.
Insane.
It is. It's tough, and then because you're always trying to forecast the big one, and I think this is a valid discussion. Obviously, we're segueing a little bit, but will there be the same need for parking? Like we talked about this. What was it with Rob Brewster? But I think that's a legitimate conversation because you're going to hit a point, and it's like, wait, we're planning all this parking and all this stuff in our code, and then all of a sudden, you're going to have your car that drops you off, goes out and works, comes back, picks you up.
Yeah, they seem like they do not want us to leave what they'd call like a carbon footprint. They seem like they don't want us to drive.
Yeah.
Especially with all the stuff they're putting in cars and stuff.
But even just like I just got a quote for new tires for Witt's car, and it was like $1,800, and I'm like, eventually you hit a point where you're like, well, what if I didn't have to do that?
Yeah.
And as a cost saving, and I could reallocate $1,000 a month payment, all that, you're at $2,000 a month comes back.
Yeah.
And I just have this car. It goes, but I think it's one of those hard ones that technology moves too fast. Like our code doesn't catch up fast enough. And that's one of the major flaws. Like
You're talking about building code.
Yeah. As we're
Yeah.
looking at it. And so because right now a permit could probably be AI responded to in 24 hours, but it takes us 4 weeks. And yet nobody wants to make the change. And I'm like, it seems like a pretty easy maneuver. It's just, it'll be how fast everything else accommodates that change will be a kind of a tell of how fast we move.
One of my biggest ahas is like being an adult and working with the government in a lot of capacities is you realize that there is no government. Like the government is just people.
And it's a shit show.
And yeah, but it's also when you go down and you're working with whatever. I use building and planning example, but you go down, you're like, it is Sally at this department. It is John who's the head of this department. It is Bill or Steve or whatever, Trina. It's like it's people, and most of them have been put into a job that is like a government job, which is always has its. But they're giving a limited amount of authority, like an unlimited like power of authority in a very specific area, and they don't want to risk losing their job or breaking any rules or pushing any boundaries because they're like, why would I do that for you? Like you're coming in and you say I need this done, but that's kind of out of the bubble a little bit. But I don't. There's no sense in me sticking my neck out.
People so that happens.
So like you end up having this entire culture of just kind of like keeping up the status quo, keeping them like they're literally like we just want it to be the exact same in 15 years as it is now because change to them means work.
Yes.
So now you're taking somebody, you're like, oh, I got a job, but now you're going to add to my job because we're going to change my job.
Yeah.
So like they don't want change and they don't want anything outside. And so the problem is like and then again, like you're like, well, who's in charge here? Yeah. And like what you find out is like nobody's in charge. No. Like everybody's in charge of something, but nobody's in charge. Yeah. And then, you go all the way up to the mayor. And you'll be like, hey, mayor, blah, blah. And it's like, well, my hands are kind of tied because, like, you learn that even like the mayor or the governor, the president, they can't just go do whatever they want. There's all these checks. And so then you're like, okay, so no one's really in charge. And then even the in charge people can't really like just make unilateral change. And so then you just have this process of like, what are we doing
And
here?
that's like local. Think about what it's like at like DC.
Yeah.
It's just like it's literally a machine. Like it's rough.
Yeah. everything's just moving. No one really knows why or how or has a grasp on the whole thing. And then it's just microcosms of like control. And it serves some people, and so it's like, well, just leave it that way. Yeah. It's a racket for sure, but
yeah. But that's the hard part. Is those are the two competing parts. You have technology moving the fastest it's ever moved, and people who move in some capacity.
So then let's try this one. What happens if you just like? What happens if you just like AI the government? What if you just literally say
Terminator?
Basically.
Well, I'm just talking about like basic stuff like traffic.
Yeah.
You know, like all of these things where you have a human, a valuable or you know, human that's making decisions on stormwater drainage or is making decisions on traffic or is making decisions on parking. What if you just like all of that stuff's like, well, why would we rely on whatever Sally or John who's got this, I don't know, a master's degree in urban planning, but they're not perfect. This AI can go out and study every single city, every single municipality, every single permitting department across the entire country, all of their parking requirements, all of their, you know, traffic code, all of their, and be like, hey, where is it the best? Where is it? Where are the pit stops? And it's like, well, I'd rather have that making a decision. You know?
Yeah. Because I mean, you think about it. So we're in the middle of comp plan changes. Spokane Valley's doing theirs. City of Spokane's doing theirs. The Growth Management Act's doing theirs. But
GMA.
like, we're at what, year 2?
Mm-hmm.
Again, you have feedback in that loop, but like, how does it take 2 years to decide what our new our code needs to look like, where we're going? And I think it'll actually be 3 years probably by the time it's done. And so I think that's the stuff where I think there's
and they only do it like every 10.
Every 10 for the UGA.
So it's like it's done every 10, but it takes us 3 to do it.
So by the time you implement, it's really 12. The time you actually are able to use it.
And my guess is by the time they do it, there's also a few more changes that are coming down the pipe that make it even more complicated. So it's like never stable.
Yeah, well, think about it. What if we made a decision? Like half the reason I battle what I battle is because I made decisions 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the market's completely different today than it was 3 years ago. And like, think of all the changes that are just different. The technology is moving so fast.
I put a VHS system in every single condo I designed.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was the next best thing. Or, hey, I put central vac in all my stuff when I
made
designed
this decision, CDs were a thing.
But it is, and it's moving so fast, like when we're looking at technology sides of things. But I think it'll just be interesting, especially in that, I mean, real estate just affects so many different things, but that's what I think will be the most interesting is how quickly we can adopt the technology.
Yeah, that must be like really difficult for even developments because it's like, what if you, like you said, you put an apartment 2-year plan and then in the middle of it, they invent some kind of crazy window or some kind of AI that could save you tens of thousands of dollars, and you're just like, fuck.
Yeah, and then you're going to put
That's the tough thing. I think about doing a long project right now because it seems like things are just moving so quick for technology.
Well, and the start and stop with the government or dealing with their kind of, you know, the bureaucracy and it's like I had a great mentor of mine tell me one time, he's like, Keith, like success, he called it like the popcorn theory of success. He's like, success is like a bag of popcorn. He's like, go try to cook a bag of popcorn, and he's like, shut the microwave off every 30 seconds. He's like, you'll never get the popcorn cooked, or it's going to cook super. He's like, but if you just run it for 3 minutes, like great bag of popcorn. He's like, that's like success. He's like, you can't interrupt yourself or success every 30 minutes or every 20 minutes and expect to be successful, even with the same plan and the same, you're just not going to get the same outcome. And I think that's kind of what government has done a little bit to the development world. It's like, there's so much interruptions and there's so many like little pepperings now about, you know, things that are not necessarily indicative of the outcome of the product, but are indicative of the process of building it, if that makes sense. And I think that's one of those things where we're just seeing it kind of come to a head with green energy credits and solar and all these kind of, they pass rules and regulation based on ideas without any sort of wherewithal for the reality of how it plays out. And then they kind of leave it to the people in the trenches to figure it out. Yeah. And when the people in the trenches are like, this is ridiculous. I mean, like, Spokane, Washington is not a place that really is ideal for solar energy. No. Right? Like, we just don't have the seasonality for it. And yet, developers and builders are installing solar on a lot of things because they need the credits. So they're literally just, like, wasting money. Yeah. We're just buying solar panels that will not outproduce the energy of the panel, right? Yeah. To put them on the building so that we check a box. And it's like, this isn't smart. This isn't like well thought out. This isn't good. This is like, but again, who's in control here? Yeah. Nobody seems to know. It's just one of those things where I think government is really the hold back between, I think, a lot of good progress
And the hard part is they have to be reactive, right? So you're talking about proactive and reactive. A government always is reactive. Keith did this. We're going to create a rule so Keith's the future can never do this.
Yeah.
I would make the argument that they're either always reactive or they're always ideologic.
Oh, well, maybe a combo of both of those.
A combo of both, right? Because there's a lot of things that they do where they're just like, hey, we think we have this idea, and they just propose that, right? Like, we got an idea that, we should give all this free money to these groups of people, or we should do, and it's like, well, what happens when that actually happens? Well, it causes all sorts of ancillary problems, right? Like we saw it during COVID. It's like, you can't just hand out billions of dollars and not expect for some sort of fallout. But when they're doing it, it's just like a good idea. It's just ideology. It's like, well, I have this idea. This will solve the problem. And you're like, oh, you kind of just treated society like a spoiled kid, like having parents.
Especially all the COVID checks.
Yeah, it's not like, this is not it's not rocket science, but this is not, I think people just don't like to face reality of it. I have friends that own pawn shops. I have friends that own weed shops. I have friends that own like all sorts of like home stereo equipment. They were rampant with, there was lines around the block.
Yeah.
Like I got a buddy that owns a dispensary up on Francis, and he's like, they sent those checks out, and for 2 weeks I had a line around the block at my dispensary.
I think there's a crazy stat I saw.
They weren't buying groceries.
No.
They weren't saving that for their kids' college. No. It's like they were buying weed. They were buying video games. They were buying flat screen TVs.
Yes.
And again, I don't even blame them, but I'm just saying, like, it's human nature, right? Like you gave people free money, and then you expected them to like act responsibly with it. Yeah. But there's a part of responsibility and that stewardship around money that comes with earning it, right?
Yes.
And it's just like, but why do we have to do that experiment to like have that realization again? I don't think we did not know that before. Yeah. I don't know. I think somebody making that decision would have been like, hey, what do you think happens in 3 weeks?
Government. Like, there's no one in charge. They're just rolling it, dude.
Well, or you go the conspiracy theory route where you're like, wow, maybe there's ancillary
somebody's benefit.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like what would they really want?
Let's get them used to the universal basic income.
But we don't have to dwell there. No. I'll bitch about the government all day.
Oh yeah, yeah. Maybe its own podcast at some point. Nice. Yeah. Well, I know less about you, Zach. Can you tell me a little bit about your story, kind of from what I see is from social media.
From just like even like from graduating or for the whole thing?
Or? Kind of your foray into business, since then.
Yeah, so kind of a crazy story, but I wanted to be my own boss. Like that was kind of like always my goal. I was in college to get my psychology degree. I was in my second year at the Falls, met my wife, was like, I love this girl. Like we fell in love like the day I met her. Like it was a crazy God thing, once in a lifetime thing. We both had like experiences that like lined up in crazy ways. And I was like, I just need to like marry this girl. And so I dropped out of school. My whole family thought I was crazy. I was like, I'm sorry. She's 4 years older than me. So I'm just a bum like washing dishes and going to school. And she's like a graduated 4-year-old, like just stud. And I was just like, but she loved me, so it was great. So I was like, I need to do something. So I was like, I'm just going to go sell cars. And then I was like, well, I still want to be my own boss. Like that was my whole shtick with like the psychology thing. I just wanted to own my own practice. So I saved up some money at Larry H. Miller Honda. Well, it's not that anymore, but saved up some money. And then I quit my job, got my real estate license, and I guess the rest is history. So, yeah.
Dude, talk to me about the car sales thing. I'm always so intrigued because actually
multiple people.
What's
Steve.
funny, Steve. Yeah, the only other real residential agent on here that we had was Steve talking. He said you did it in Hawaii, but what was car sales like?
It's, I call it sales university because if you can sell a car, everyone hates you. Like, everyone hates you. You walk in there like, you fucking lot lizard, you pile of garbage. I'm just like, oh. But I just didn't want to like do it forever because.
So who do car salesmen make fun of?
Exactly.
Nobody.
Who else is below them on
well,
the
you know what I mean? Like
lawyers?
in real estate,
Nobody, dude.
You would always hear that phrase of like, somebody would do something cringeworthy, and other people would be like, God, guy's like a used car salesman or something. And
there's
I'm
a hierarcy in sales. The car salesman.
There's like we look down, and then like I'm the car sales. Like, is it like the printer guys or something? You know what I mean? They're like, that guy's like a used printer salesman,
encyclopedia salesman.
That
faded away.
In my history or experience, it's probably just people that like come in. Like the lowest credit score I've ever seen is 325. So maybe that. Come in, they're like, I want a new car, $325. Like, okay, maybe that.
What do we do with this? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what do you do? But yeah, so and that's where I really learned I could sell. I had no idea I could sell. And I ended up selling like 65 cars in like 4 months. And I was like, holy shit, I can sell. Like, I just had no idea. So yeah, then I got my real estate license, almost quit a bunch of times because I didn't sell anything in like 6 months. And then I sold 25 houses the next 6 months. And then it was like 50 and 80. And then I had people be like, hey, you want to teach me something? And then from there, it was like, I'll have 5 agents. And then it was like 10 agents. I was like, guys, I'm done. I hate this. Stop. And then it was like 20 people. And I was like, guys, I'm done.
I hate this. Let's stop.
And then it was like, now we got like if you count our dual licensed agents, because we're doing a huge push to Idaho, we have like 85 people.
Congrats, man. That's growth.
And then we're in Florida, Idaho, Tri-Cities, Seattle, Spokane. So yeah.
Florida, Idaho, Tri-Cities, Seattle, and Spokane.
Yes.
Florida kind of seems like the outlier there.
Yeah.
What here does not belong?
Get the Idaho, Tri-Cities, Spokane vibe, and then you're like in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I used to when we first started, there's this guy named Brian Casella who I really looked up to, and we would go to like his events, and I was able to speak at a few of them. And I don't know you as well, but I know Keith would appreciate this, and you're just like, vacation, just like sitting next to this guy. I was like, I kind of like this guy. So I just said some like off the wall shit, and we kind of looked at each other. I was like, and he kind of looked at me and he was like, I like this guy. Like, it was like one of those things, right? Where you just meet a new friend and you say something like, are we going to be friends? And then we maintained our friendship for like 5 years. And then it was another God thing, but I am just being a dork. Me and my wife were going on a cruise. I booked the wrong flight time. So I was 2 days early. So I'm just like,
oh, yeah, that's where you told me this story. Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit. I was like, babe, I'm so sorry. I'm going to go on like a 2-day brocation. I'll meet you there. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I screwed up my flight. And she's like, you're so stupid. And I'm like, I know. And so and then I called Drew. He's only 3 hours away. And I was like, you want to hang out? And he's like, yeah. So we drove down, and then I made a joke like, cool, time to do Dream Team Florida. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, haha. And he's like, I'm serious. And then, the rest is history.
Nice.
So it's just, crazy. But we're down there.
Cool. How many agents do you have down there?
10.
10.
He's been operating since last February.
Okay.
Yeah. Or maybe it's like 8. It's like 8 to 10.
What part of Florida?
Lakeland, which is actually a lot similar to Spokane. It's very, very similar.
Yeah, I think Florida is one of those really, for me anyway, and I'm sure other people, you think of Florida, you think of like Miami Beach, right? It's just like anything. You think of California, you think of San Diego, or you think of LA, and it's like, then you go to like Northern California, you're like, dude, this is way different. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And Florida kind of has that same thing. If you get like Central Florida or Northern Florida, it's like, it's a whole different world.
Yeah, it's actually only like 45 minutes to Orlando, and I think 30 to 60, I can't remember, I've only been there once, to Tampa, so it's like right in the middle. So even as he grows, it's going to be super easy to get into those markets, and I really liked Tampa a lot. Orlando was kind of creepy. It was like too much Disney.
A lot of Disney.
It was like creepy. I was like, I feel just like weird people would move here,
The only time I've ever been to Orlando was to go to Disney, so I don't really know. You kind of just go there with that expectation.
Yeah.
But it would definitely be different to go there without that lens on.
Yeah.
If you weren't there for Disney.
Like investing in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
or just
who's
going
here, what
there,
are we-
right?
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of my jam. And then now it's just, then I met Keith, got into rentals. Now I got 20 doors. So Keith changed my life. And I'm just here on this podcast.
That's cool. What was like the hardest scale point of that? Was it the 10 to 20, 20 to 30?
I think it was just like doing it, trying to just, leverage yourself.
Yeah.
And I, coming from, and I mean this in no disrespect, but coming from no one in my family has ever really started a business. No one in my family's ever really done investing. I'm kind of like the first one. And then like trusting, Keith, who isn't family. And I was just like, whatever you say, I'm going to do it. And then at one point I'm like leveraged 7 properties.
He's literally going to do it.
He's
like literally doing what I'm telling him to do. This is both amazing and creepy at the same time.
Yep. So I'm like up at like, I remember I was like up at like I'd wake up, cold sweats, 2 a.m, and start doing math. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? You know, it's like, I've never done this shit. In my life.
Yeah, you jumped in quick.
Yeah, so I went from like 2 doors to like 20 in like 2 years, but yeah. And then I will always make this joke. The only time I ever lost money on a flip was doing a flip with him.
Yep.
We both lost like 10 grand.
Yep.
So that's funny.
That's a good lesson learned.
It's just like one of those funny ones, right? It's like the guy who made you very wealthy and helped you and blessed you, of course. The flip you guys do is shit.
Well, we did what? We did 2 in the valley or 1 in the valley and made money. And then I was like, I got this one down on Knox, but it was I think it was like a.
Is this funny?
I'd bought him in like a package deal.
Yeah.
You know? And so, yeah, it was just one of those things where it was like market turned a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, man, I don't think we're going to do very good on this one, Zach.
This is going to be tough. Okay, buckle up. This is the other side I didn't teach.
This might not be the one that makes
That's the lesson
rich.
you can only teach one way. You have to actually lose the money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I was really doing.
It's the best 10,000 you ever spent on it.
You got to think. I'm just like, it was like, for me, it was like, oh, I got to do a flip with Yoda. And then it's like, I just went to battle with Yoda, and we just got our ass kicked. What the fuck just happened?
Yoda probably saved you from losing 50. That's the downside of that lesson.
Yeah. But, yeah, and I think too, I mean, as a leader, it's just, and I tell this to my crew all the time, it's just like, hey, you know, like, just because I'm the leader doesn't mean that I can't fuck up. Like, I'm a human being. So it's like, you have to give me grace and let me have bad days or let me have off moments. So I think that probably helped me not get mad at Keith or whatever, just because it's like, I get what it's like to be on that side too, where it's like, you can't win them all. Yeah. You can't be, you know, you don't play baseball and go 162-0, you know?
Oh, I found you can win them all. You just have to do like the Jim Moorcutt method. You buy one a year, one every other year. Yeah. You can't win them all if you're trying to go big, is what I found out, is that you're going to take some of that risk. But I think what I found was the hardest scale was, I think the most we had, I think we were somewhere close, like 145 agents. But what happened to me was I just started getting split between so many things. Yeah. So then my attention wasn't on the brokerage like it was for 5 years.
Have you ever read the book The One Thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I feel like you got to try not to get away from that too much. But it's like hard too, because I mean, I've done 4 or 5 things or try to do, you know, and then now I'm just like, dude, this is my real estate's just my thing. I just, you know.
Yeah, the hard part was I found it all in real estate. So then it was like, well, I found a good partner. Let's do restaurants. So I ended up owning 4 or 5 of those. And you're like, then you start owning down that path. And I think that shiny object's really easy when you get there. Like you said, you went from 2 to 20, right? Yeah. And then you add the cold sweats. Well, cold sweats keep you distracted from how do I add 20 more agents? Yes. And I think Danielle's podcast was the best, where she's like, I could go start a scrunchy business tomorrow. Sure. Yeah. But he's like, to her point, she stayed focused. So what keeps you focused in real estate? Because the more I did, the more I kept getting requests for it. Was what I think
just like watching, you know, people. I'm very like
I've watched YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I just like
hey, so
I just like observe, you know, and like I remember he told me don't start a contracting company, and I was just like, well, I hear you. But like, I feel like I got a good shot of this. Did not go well. Oh, yeah. So it wasn't like I'm gonna prove Dad wrong. It was more like I actually just have a good feeling about this. And then it's just I think you just really like learn those, and then it's like, okay, these guys have fruit on the tree. I want that fruit. If they are saying this, do I really want to play the game of like, don't listen? It doesn't usually work out mathematically in my favor. So I think it's just like being really good at observing other people and then not getting like ego, because ego from a man is like, I'm gonna prove I got a chip on my shoulder. And so I think, nope, can't do that, because it's hard, because we're also really competitive. So I think it's just like, you got to just find that center and be clear and just be like, it's okay, my shit doesn't stink, you know, like, or my shit does stink, you know, like, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's okay, like, it's my shit stinks, I'm an imperfect person, and that's okay. And I can't do it all. So it's like, this is my thing, this is probably what God called me to do, and I'm just going to do it instead of doing like 18 side quests, because I'm really good. And if I do things, I can figure it out. That's a gift. But if I abuse that gift and go out of this thing that God called me to do, I'm probably going to get burnt. Yeah. So what are you called to do? I think just be in real estate and be just a different guy.
And just brokerage, sales, real estate?
The whole thing. Just bring different energy. Just being authentic, I think, is really important, and I think that's what I can bring to this in an industry that's like kind of stuffy, in my opinion. And I think that, you know, like investors and that being around Keith is like gave me permission to do that, because it's like Synergy was
Because we were weird.
dude.
We were weird.
It's energy though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were weird.
So it's like that. I just love that vibe, and I think that is honestly the future of business is just being yourself. Just especially like 20 to 40-year-olds, like they want to come hang out with us. Like they don't want to go to like a bigger brokerage and suit and tie. Like that's just not.
Yeah, and there's people out there like
thing.
everybody. That's the thing about real estate, and I think it transcends life. But I think specifically with real estate agents picking a brokerage to work at, I feel like there's like an ass for every seat, right?
Yeah.
Like there are definitely people that just resonate better with like different atmospheres and different cultures.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe the underlying root of what we're talking about is just the culture that you've bred with your group and your team, and a culture of like acceptance and a culture of like,
Because we have like Nick Michelle, he's more suit and tie,
yeah.
but that's okay. He accepts us for who we are, and it's like that's the thing. It's just like being okay with being different. I guess is what I think I'm really okay with, and I feel like I got a pretty long leash of like, okay, that's fine, that's whatever. Just be yourself.
That's awesome. What's your goal with Dream Team?
I mean, I think right now I just want to get to at least like 100 agents, and then I think we're good, we're profitable. We have a lot of fun and just changing lives, like inspiring change, building leaders in the community, like just being there for people, meeting people where they're at, because I think a lot of places don't necessarily do that. I think we've had, even in the last 6 months, like we helped someone, get out of a abusive relationship, like it's not all about real estate. Like that's cool. Like when I die one day, like that's the stuff I'm going to remember, not like selling a house. So like, okay, I could change the trajectory of this young lady's life, or like, hey, this guy just broke up with his girlfriend. He's really down. And we've all been there, maybe not had someone. So it's just like, not only just doing real estate, but just being there for people. And I think continuing to meet people where they're at. And then not only that, but challenging people to, be someone that can push people for more. And I just think like that's what I'm passionate about. And then finding people like Drew in Florida, Alexis in Seattle, Josue in Tri-Cities, who also agree with that, and just being like let's bring this to like the real estate community.
Yeah, I think you have to have a high tolerance for messy or difficult when you are breeding, growing, and hiring and training new agents.
Yeah, it's just life, man.
Almost probably, or even new employees, like any capacity. It's like being a school teacher or something, right? Like you have to have a tolerance for just like they are where they are and they're kind of coming. But you like this profession will also like grind you to the bone, man. I mean, the real estate sales profession is there's a huge washout. But it's just because I think there's so many facets of it, but also it will test your character. And it kind of tests like who you are as a person. You have to learn to control your own time. You have to learn to be a self-motivator and a self-starter. You have to learn how to control your own finances. You have to learn how to like budget and make plans. But you also have to learn how to like say no and when to say no, and like not just to business opportunities, but to different clients. I mean, like people will run you ragged, dude.
Yes.
Like they treat you like you're a waiter at a restaurant or something, right? And so it's and in a kind of a naive young real estate agent's mind, you just want to serve and you want to please, and so they're like, hey man, I want to go back and see this house for the 8th time with my dad tonight at 9:00, and you're like, sure, all right, I'll be there. And it's like you get run ragged, and I think so. The cool thing is the people that kind of make it. You do go through this like kind of really tremendous personal growth journey, I think.
Yeah, that's how it's
to go
been,
from being a brand new agent to being kind of like a seasoned real estate agent. I think you just grow as a person, right? You kind of have
capacity is probably the word I think of.
And you're dealing with other people in highly emotional and volatile situations, right? Negotiations. You're dealing with spouses who may have differences of opinions. You're dealing with people who are getting divorced. You're dealing with people who are like empty nesters and their kids are moving. I mean, you're like usually in these like highly volatile emotional situations with other people, also negotiating and also talking about a tremendously large asset in their life. So of course the stakes are high. For me, I think that's why I became a junkie on it, right? Because like every day was like this kind of like, oh man, what's gonna happen today? It was like,
well, if you're a problem solver, it's amazing. It's perfect. And I am a problem solver. I just like to get shit done. I like to just like solve problems. So I think in real estate, it's like the perfect place for someone like that, because it's just like that's what you're doing. Yeah. And that's why I love it. I just love solving problems. But Burnoff, he's the one that really like besides you, helped me a lot.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit about that. So me and Zach share another common, I guess you'd say interest, but like I'm super into like the subconscious mind, and I'm super into like mindset and how literally the way that you think will dictate your life. Yeah. Right. You know, it will dictate situationally and scenario wise, but also just in the big picture. But talk to me about burn off, because this is not something I did or I haven't experienced, but we ran into him at the same, I think, conference. Yeah. And then you kind of went down this path where you went to and kind of studied with this guy.
Yeah. So Burnoff is like, I would describe him as a wizard, and he's like 6'7", towering man, thunderous voice, just insane human being. Like God made one of him. And he's the one. And he's just all about like the NLP disrupting patterns. So I think the thing that changed my life.
What's his first name? You know,
Michael Burnoff.
Michael Burnoff.
And so I remember.
And he's out of Phoenix, right?
Scottsdale, I think.
Scottsdale.
But I always give him shit because he's like, I didn't say that. I was like, you did say it. But the thing that he did
but you did say
to change my life is he literally was like, you're a miserable piece of shit. And I was like, amen. Tell me more.
You got my attention.
Yeah. And then, so that was one of the things. And he just, has a way to like say things and break patterns. And I've seen the guy, like a woman has been like raped, and he will take her on stage and like get her to like say the name, and he will write the person's name backwards. And then he'll be like, say this name. And they have no idea. And we all know what's happening because we can see it. And then they're just laughing because they're saying Scarborough, because it's all backwards, right? And then he's just like, say this, and then writes their name, and they say it calm. And he's like, yeah, you couldn't do that 10 minutes ago. And you're just like, whoa. Like, he's awesome. So like, he really changed my life, and I've just been sending my team down there so we can all kind of like speak and think and talk the same language. And he just made me realize so many things that were like wrong in my own self. And he's brought me a lot of peace. And so like, I don't know how deep you want me to get into it, but like the biggest thing that's changed my life are probably the personality archetypes that he goes over. So that's, again, don't know how deep you want me to get into it, but that's probably the thing that's changed my life the most.
Go a little deeper.
Yeah.
I understand that
so,
one.
So it's his goal, which I'm a nerd, so I appreciate it. Like I got Lord of the Rings tattoo. I love it. So he talks about like his goal is to be a wizard. And it's like, okay, how are we going to get there? So it starts off as like, we all have these people in our life. Orphan sounds like Eeyore. Oh man. And we all do these things. Like we all do these things. Why did that happen to me? Yeah. Come on, Pooh. Just some sad shit, right? So
it's good voice impersonation, actually.
Yeah, I do a really good Cartman. That's probably my best one, actually. I'm famous for my Cartman impersonation. So you have
that's what you're famous for.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'll do it later for you guys. But so you have these orphans who just like, that's kind of like the base level, and then it goes in from that to wanderer. So orphan is like, you're so sad, it's like you get this courage to then go grass is greener syndrome, shiny object syndrome. So it's like we have time. So that made me stop doing the side quest because like, oh, I'm just being a wanderer. I'm wandering. And so it was like, and then he explains a wanderer as the thing you do next just to be disappointed. And I was like, oh fuck! Like that one hurt me so. That one hurt me so bad.
The thing you do next just to be disappointed.
Yeah. So it was like you go from this state where probably you're like orphaning, and then you get oh fuck, and then you're like imposter syndrome or whatever we do, and then you go wander, and then it's like you get disappointed, and then after you're done, your legs are tired. He goes, you get courage to pick up the sword and the shield and become a warrior. And it's just like, what do you do then? It's like, you're like, I want to have a better relationship with my wife. I'm going to fight for it. Shield. Hey, Libby, you're just fucking her up, but you're like trying to have but you're fighting for it. But it's like, if you want a good relationship with a woman who's your wife and she's feminine and sensitive, and you're being over masculine, being a warrior, being a dick, you're fighting for it, you're trying really hard, that doesn't really translate. So it's like, why are we doing these things in life where we're fighting for these things, but we have our shield and our sword up and we're attacking? Well, dude, that doesn't really work. You're fighting, and then you might be able to like, hey, Jordan, here's some good advice. You're like, okay, well, I can't help you. Yeah. Guys with chips on their shoulder, they're just in warrior. And you're like, you can't, if you have something to prove, how can you even hear anything but the sound of your own voice? If you're out to prove something, you can't. So then he was like, okay, well then when the warrior is in the pasture and now he is he is exhausted. He's done fighting. He becomes what's called an altruist. And then that is someone in your life that just goes, oh, well, nobody loves me and I'm going to do everything for everybody else. And I am a martyr, and I just help everyone else. I don't really get into that. I didn't really relate much to that one, but I know a lot of people that are like that. And then he said, there's no really translation there, but Nick Kuiper, you don't know Street Jesus, but you know Street Jesus.
I do know Street Jesus.
I do know Street
I do know Street Jesus.
He's the perfect example of this, but it's called the innocent. And we all know those people that just are like too optimistic. You're like, you're annoying. Like, what is wrong with you? And and so Nick and me always say like, I'm more like a pessimistic optimist, and he's just optimistic. I'm like, here's the worst thing, but like, hopefully it'll work out, and this is how we're gonna get there. And Nick's just like, I'm there, bro. Come on, shit. Like this is Nick. And so, but the innocent can kill you because too much innocent, almost like you're not in reality. Because it's like, yeah. So he says essentially what you need is a wizard, is someone who's weird, authentic, themselves, free, having fun, just like using life like they're literally controlling it. He calls it magic. He's like, if you're in that state, you're using magic, you're being a wizard. And so he essentially said a wizard is just an innocent, which is faith, and a warrior. Yeah. So you combine the fight and the innocence, and you become like your elevated self. And so that whole thing has changed my life.
This was like a course basically you took, right? Essentially, it was like
you get NLP certified. It's really
NLP
cool.
certified. Yeah. I don't know, week long, 4 day long.
Yeah, you start with core, and it's like $700, $900. Depends how many people you got going, and then you can sign up for a discount thing at like a package, and you go to HIT. And it's just it's been awesome, man. It's really changed my life. I love Mr. Burnoff. He's amazing.
Mr. Burnoff.
Put some respect on his name.
Yeah. And so it was super helpful because it helps you in whatever place you're in identify and a path through each of these steps, right?
Yeah, and
because each of those resonate. I'm sure anybody listening, somebody fits one of those.
Oh,
we're all or multiple,
them.
right? And in a day, you may be all of them.
Yes.
And then, so what was the biggest aha of it? Was it that somebody put a term and a path that seemed to fit how you heard it? Or was it the next steps you did? Like, what was the biggest aha?
The biggest aha was I set out, like, what are your limiting beliefs?
There you go.
And I don't really remember. I should have brought my book, but my whole shit was like, so just imposter syndrome, just orphan, just bad. And it was like, I'm not a good leader. And it was like, and he goes, you know what's crazy? 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 build 4. Yeah. And it was like, I'm not a good leader, and I'm not a good father, and I'm failing my family. And then my whole team's going to leave or whatever. It's like the buildup of that, and I'm just like, and then he was like, cool. So he's like, is your whole team, like this exercise is like, is your whole team gonna leave, or is 1, 2, 3 your negative beliefs manifesting for?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
gonna cause them to leave,
dude.
Yeah. Likely.
Brutal, and it's just brutal, dude. So it's like you do these exercises, and I think the whole thing, you're just like, like not to go orphan, but you're just like, oh fuck, I suck, in a humbling way. That's just like, okay, I have answers. Like, and it's so easy. It's like, oh, of course, if I think this, shit is gonna happen. It's not gonna be as good as it could be. So it's just it's so powerful to see how many things we manifest, and so it's like you get out of all these things, you learn these exercises. It's so easy to just like exist clearly.
Yeah, and I don't think I was ever a manifest person before, but that's like exactly what happened. So my story basically was I went big. So I went from 2 to 2,000 units, right?
Yeah.
And it was just not 2,000, but essentially went from, hey, I want to build 100-unit buildings.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize that's a big jump from flipping homes and owning 40 homes to doing that. And I remember when it first spun, and how it spun on me was that, hey, great, you finished the building, Jordan. You did everything you said, but rates are 4% higher. So instead of refinancing your loan, we need you to bring 30% more down. And remember that value we started with 18 months ago, it's actually worth less. So not even 30% of what you originally thought, it's 30% of what the new value was. And I just hit this like, oh shit moment. And I was like, no, I'm going to do the warrior thing. I'm just going to buckle down and do this because I don't want to lose agents. I don't want to lose this reputation. I don't want to lose any of this stuff. Guess what I lost? Like as I did it.
Yeah.
Because
it'd be interesting
reputation. The agents left because they're like, well, that's too much noise. And I'm like,
it'd be interesting to see you go through that exercise and then like think back on that time and then see
Oh, I just did
what
as you
adds up.
explained it.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I was literally like tracking it. I'm like, that makes sense. The wizard. Let me see how you get there. But as I went through it, it's amazing how much that manifesting, where you almost create the thing you're trying to avoid.
Well, and
in a lot of ways.
I think it's like
I was guessing this text.
one of the reasons it's so unintuitive, or it's hard to imagine, or I think conceptualize for a lot of people, is people think manifestation is like, I am here now and I'm going to basically positively think about the things in my life that I want, and then they're going to start to show up. So I'm going to sit down here on my carpet with my knees like crisscross applesauce, and I'm going to envision myself, becoming a millionaire next year, and then next year I'm going to become a millionaire. That's what a lot of people's perception of like what manifestation and visualization looks like. And that's like a practice that you will a lot of times adopt, or that they'll teach you, or that people will naturally gravitate towards once you see what the power of manifestation is and what it can do. But that's not necessarily what it is. When it comes back to the subconscious and the conscious mind, and manifestation is you're manifesting all the time, not sitting on your carpet crisscross applesauce. You're like every single second of every single day you are manifesting. And if you can start to conceptualize that, if you can start to realize that, people are going, no, I'm not. I'm like, no, you actually are. You just don't know you are. Like you are subconsciously manifesting all of the time. All of the time. Yeah. It takes a second to grasp that. But then once you do, then you start to realize like, oh, okay. And I think the pinnacle of it for me was the realization that there are things that you want in life, everybody. And yet your ability to get them is either potentially impossible, or is going to be very, very difficult in your current state.
Yes.
And so if you want something in your life, you have to kind of, reverse engineer it. And I think too often or not, we basically disappoint ourselves, set lofty goals, tell our spouse we're going to do things, tell our friends or our teammates we're going to do, and fail and lose, erode our word or trust, all this. And we do it kind of unintentionally, but yet intentionally. Like we're like, how is this happening to me? But then you start to breed those same beliefs. But I think it's just one of those things where
That's because we're super good at it. The issue is that we reinforce whatever that belief was that we create over every decision you make every day. So all of a sudden, hey, I'm not there for Logan, my daughter. So I'm just a bad dad. Well, then all of a sudden she has a recital and I have to be at this meeting. I miss it. And then you just keep reinforcing whatever thought pattern it was. So the best thing that happened to me was when you recognize it and you're like, no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm fine. And then now it does the opposite piece. And it's funny, what my worst year was when all of it just came down, and I'm like, how do you deal with, like, what is this? You're in the storm. And it just kept manifesting. Well, another agent would leave, and I'm like, oh, that's just because of me. Well, maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But and then when the switch happened, I actually really timed with this podcast, which is super interesting. But is then I was like, no. Fundamentally, those deals, they were great deals. If I could hold them for 5 years, we'd all make money. Yeah. And there's 3 of them of 50. Yeah. That's what's even crazier. I went back and I'm like, wait, what is this? And I was like, wait a second.
And sometimes you just got to chalk it down to you're just God's people in the desert.
Yeah. The desert makes way more sense to me. The food every morning makes more sense to me.
Sometimes you're just there and sometimes you can't explain it. Yeah. But going back to this is really vital for a base. And then another huge aspect of that is like the human rights that your parents give you. So that's also a brutal one, because you're like, oh, this is how I suck as a parent. It's like, burn off this roasting you. So essentially it's like there's a right to a voice, the right to independence, the right to sexuality, and the right to be, and then the right to need. And he said, like, as parents, we need to give our kids all these rights. And what was really, really shocking to me is to go from like I have the right to be, which essentially is like, that you're like a special person or whatever, right? Because my grandma raised me. So is your grandma. What does your grandma say? Oh, Keith, you're so special. You're so special.
You're so amazing.
So that's what I had. So it's like, I had this inherited subconscious thing of like how my grandma raised me, and maybe like, so now I have this like thing of like wanting people to like me. Well, it's really not that. It's actually, I just was like used to this thing my grandma, and I'm like, other people aren't going to treat me this way? Bad. Not good. So every single leader, Tyson, Dustin, every single person had the right to independence, which is essentially like can't ask for help. Never got taught that you're special. Never got taught to ask for a voice. Never got the right to need. Fully cooked, not good. Only find value if you're winning. Yeah. but it's like we're raised with your parents being like, go figure it out. Go figure it out.
Well, and then a lot of times you're rewarded for that, right? So I had this conversation with Blue, actually, when we and him had a podcast. But it's like, I grew up a middle child. But one of because he kind of talked about like our adolescence and what, you learn from that. But being a middle child, I'll tell you, I remember vividly the very first time I realized that like my younger brother would get attention because he was the youngest. And it was like, oh, he's going to be the last one to graduate high school. He's going to be the last one,
all the memories.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Or, he's going to be, he's our baby. And my older brother would get attention for being the first.
Yeah.
And they didn't do anything to deserve that other than just birthplace, right? And same thing, I didn't do anything wrong. It's just, but I noticed as a kid, like my older brother was like the first to drive, the first to have his birthday, whatever. It was like first to walk.
Yeah.
Younger would be and you were kind of in the middle. So I just realized very quickly and it took me until I was an adult to compartmentalize this or realize this, in reality was, whatever I had to do to get attention needed to be like extra.
Yeah.
Or special.
Maybe that's why we get along, because I was a middle child.
It couldn't be walking because I already had a brother that walked.
You already seen it.
It couldn't be talking. I already had a brother that talked. It couldn't be, being last. So it was like, so you were like in that search mode, right? Like I was always searching for a reason to do something extraordinary or out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
But then you'd be rewarded for that. You come home with all straight A's and like, oh my gosh, good job, all straight A's. And then that just reinforces that behavior of like, well, now this is a standard. Yeah. Now I can't let them down.
I almost wonder if how many high
attention.
achievers are middle childs. Actually, now that you say that,
I don't know.
I'd love to see that data.
I don't know.
Quite a few. I mean, I'm number 3 of 7.
And I don't know that
so
I would say
kids.
like, oh, this is what drove, this is what makes me so special. I think it's more of like the aha of like, oh, this is why I value the things that I value.
Yeah.
And this is why I feel guilt or shame around the things that I don't. And it's like being normal is like, feels guilty or shameful, and you're like, well, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. I think
right? Like you need this extraordinary thing.
Extra.
Right.
Yeah.
You need it.
One more thing I think I could add for value on that is the last thing I think that really was an aha was his, like, obviously we all understand this if you study the subconscious mind, but he was just understanding like the conscious mind can only handle like, I think it was like 2 to 10 thoughts at once, where the subconscious mind is like a supercomputer filing cabinet system, like that you don't even know is running. Mm-hmm. So he essentially, like the analogy that I use is like, okay, who's to say that like the guy who's overweight is actually just overweight because he's lazy? What if every time he goes to the gym, he's like, I'm gonna go to the gym. He gets up, goes and gets a bowl of ice cream, gets sad, gets defeated, sits down. Well, you end up training yourself to go, gym. And whatever you do, whatever evidence you give yourself, your conscious mind's thinking gym. But your subconscious mind, he just explained as like a bunch of like little U's running around in your brain being like,
right.
okay, what does Zach do when he says gym? Okay, oh, sit down, eat ice cream, be sad. And it's like, you just want ice cream. It's like you gotta be. It's like
well,
that
it's like
intense.
if what you want is ice cream, but you need shame to go grab the ice cream, and you need to find shame. Well, then you should set a goal to go to the gym this morning, and then not go, which will give you the shame that you need when you get home to grab the bowl of ice cream. Right? Like, that's kind of in reality. That's how your subconscious mind. Like the more and more I'm learning, like that's how it actually works. Is like it is reverse engineering your life to actually give you what you want.
Yeah.
In a way that
work is brutal.
You are like, man,
you're
why?
breaking neural patterns and all this shit to get there. It's just like it is a conscious fight, and your whole like freaking monkey Neanderthal brain is like danger. The cougar is outside the cave. Like this, you're going outside of your comfort. Like we are literally programmed for comfort. Mm-hmm. So to like break through and be like getting up at 6 and going to the gym every morning is comfort. That first 2 months, brutal.
Yeah, and you don't remember all those. Like we grew up, my dad, 1 of 7, my family, I'm 1 of 7. But my dad was a private school teacher, made like $25,000 a year. Well, of course, I have a problem with money and how what we didn't have. And it's funny. It took me a while, kind of almost going through this, to just look back on those same scenarios. Actually, it's super funny. I was just watching Mike and Dave Need Dates. Have you seen that one? The movie. Who's in it? Zak Efron.
Oh yeah.
So they go out, and the very first scene is this. Having fun, shooting off fireworks, and then the next scene is them showing what actually happened. The fireworks blew up something, and then did this, and it was just funny how when I look back on those moments, a lot of it was like, well, we just didn't have. But now going through this, I'm look back, I'm like, no, actually, we had a lot.
Yeah.
Like it was never the money. It was never about the money. It's like I made it about the money, and so now, like, I'll go order off a menu, and I'm like, no, I want that. Why'd you want that? Did you really want a $300 lobster? No, but I can because we never did. And I did a lot of things I can because I never could. And now it's like,
They became
wait a
normal.
sec. They became normal. And then now it's like I have to catch myself on them.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, maybe they're judging me because we couldn't buy that. And I'm like, wait a second, what's that even coming
think
from?
the-
And it's this weird thing that I would never have thought I had until you hit these points.
I can relate to that.
One of the interesting things about my life, I think, is when you go through these phases of like, okay, first you're doing all this stuff like we're talking about, unaware. Yeah. Then you start to like get maybe like a little bit successful, or maybe even have some failure in your life, and you're like, man, I need to kind of like self psychoanalyze. Like I need to figure out why I'm doing this, right? So then you do that.
Yeah.
And then there's like, for me, the third phase, and what I think has been so great is like when you get to this phase in your life when you go to like that same $300 lobster thing or whatever, but you realize the way that you operate, and you all of a sudden just start ordering whatever you want, not because of the money or not because of whatever, but that to me is like, you know, that multimillionaire dude that drives the beat up pickup and has like whatever, and like they just have realized that like, hey man, I used to chase money because I grew up without it, and I wanted to be like all the kids whose parents, you know, had money and I didn't.
Yes.
And then I chased that for a while, only to realize that like it didn't make me happy either. It's like at some point in time, and by the way, maybe you just do like nice things. Yeah. There's people that love $300 lobster and $7,000 suits and sport, and like, but they also just realize like that's what makes them happy.
Yeah.
For me, I just realized like there was a lot of things in my life for whatever reason that I was either aspiring to or chasing, that was for some other reason that had something to do with internal Keith that wasn't really what Keith wanted.
Well, it sounds like we've all been through that.
Yeah. You're chasing shiny objects for, like I said, the next thing that's going to make you sad or something.
Yeah, disappoint.
The,
The
next thing
that's
that's going to disappoint you.
Well, it's just funny because I even think of that. Like my goal was to own 1,000 units. And then I trace it back and I'm like, what? That doesn't make a ton of sense. Like, why would you want 1,000 units?
Maybe just do 50 to 100 good.
Just do, and so you break this whole thing down. It's funny, and I don't know the aha moment and when that transition happened. If it was because it got hard, and all of a sudden that thing fell, and now I see the consequences of what a 100-unit building is. Paying. Your capital calls are now $200,000 instead of $2,000. But it's just one of those where I could have read every book, could have done every part, and then it's just when it hits you. But I think it's to your point of the personality test. Is what I was circling all the way back to. Is like you just don't know sometimes when you're in it.
That's
you
why
definitely
it's so
don't know
good
what you
to
don't
do
know.
that, because then you can kind of go, how am I operating?
Yeah.
It's just
why
it's
am
a
I
really
making
good
this
system.
decision?
Burnoff is a genius, and I call him a savant. Like that is just like savant.
Well, he understands that world very well. There's quite a few of them. You know, it goes a lot with like hypnotherapy and stuff too. I mean, there's a ton of that, NLA, NLP, and that's one of the things. Like, you talked earlier about like, you know, Keith told me not to do a contracting company, and then you're like, I want to do and we've all done it, right?
Trust.
But it's also like, and this is one of the things, like now being a coach intentionally on purpose, like because like our relationship was mentorship, right? Danielle, Alicia, I've had an opportunity to kind of be like a coach or a mentor in a lot of capacities that was just like, no skin in the game.
I'm there, and
then and all of a sudden you make this transition, like, okay, people are going to pay you to coach or mentor them, and you start going, but like what you realize really quickly is getting to that why behind it is so important, because when someone says, you know, I got a client who says, Keith, I want 1,000 doors. As a coach, I'm like, sweet. And then we can build a plan to get you to 1,000 doors. But if we don't, either one of us stop and go back and go, okay, wait a minute. What about 1,000 doors is important? Why 1,000? Why not 1,001?
It's usually just the
why
number
not?
Sounds good.
Exactly.
It's
but
a
if you
round
don't
number.
dive, then what ends up happening is you end up having like one of three options. A is you end up having failure, which is tragic no matter how you put it. Two is you end up having success but no fulfillment.
Correct.
So it's like either you don't get it or you get it, but then you're still chasing something, or the price was too high, or you regret doing it. So then it's like, well, the only way that I can coach or mentor someone and they can achieve amazing results and love the results they're getting is if we have a conversation about the why before we start. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm just helping you build a castle that you never wanted.
Correct.
Right?
It's a prison at a certain point. That's what I started realizing. I'm like, man, my life is actually pretty simple. I like simple things, but I do like nice things.
I think that's the true freedom, right? God gives you abundance, and then with that abundance, you're just like, I'm going to try to live a normal life. I think there's power in that. Yeah. Like, at least that's for me. It's to give me a lot of perspective, a lot of freedom of just like, oh, okay, I don't got to go 1,000,000 miles an hour. And then like lately, my prayer has just been like, God, whatever's for me, I'll just do that. Yeah. Like, I don't want to like just, you know, I'll slow down. I'm still going to go fast. I'm going to conquer. I'm going to, you know, be action driven. But it's like, just God, let me be action driven in things that are for me. And if they're not for me, close the doors, bolt me down on the ground, and get it the fuck away from me. I don't want it.
Yeah.
So like that's just been, and it's just like I just want to live in that.
Yeah, and I think it's defining those pieces, because if you're good at achieving goals and you set the wrong goals,
you'll achieve the wrong goals.
And so like my plan wasn't wrong. I mean, we'll be close to 500 doors by the time it's done. I grew a brewery, one of the largest breweries, grew a real estate company, and as I got to those points, I'm like, this isn't what I wanted.
Yeah,
and I think it was just one of those being intentional about understanding.
What is it that you want?
So, yeah, so I'm in this weird phase of I'm not sure. I just want to get this done.
Go to Burnoff.
Yeah, that sounds
go to Burnoff.
Because he'll go
to the wizard.
He's like, what the fuck do you want?
Yeah.
You have this 6'7" dude who plays hockey. You could totally beat the shit out of all three of us at once. What the fuck do you want? You're just like,
such a good one.
I don't know, dude. You're really tall. But no, seriously, I'd go to Core, man. It's awesome. And he will ask you that. Like, that's a big thing, is like trying to find out what you want. And he has a whole segment and a story about a guy, his mentor, just questioning him for an hour at dinner. What do you want?
Yeah.
Got him down to the nuts and bolts. And so, like, that's the whole thing. And, like, what I wanted was, like, literally, it was insane. I just wanted to have fun.
Yeah.
So that's all I want to be. I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be a wizard, be weird, make crazy South Park jokes with my friends and be dumb, but crush and sell houses and just have fun and not take life so seriously. Be there for people. Just have fun. Be a dad. Like, that's what I want.
It's good, though. Yeah. No, I'm still in the middle of figuring that out, because part of me still wants to build a skyscraper.
Yeah.
And the other part of me wants to just be at the lake 3 months out of a year. So I'm been going down that path with a couple of mentors, kind of chatting through that piece. Because there was take away that side where I'm struggling through there. There was this huge side where I grew, impacted a ton of life. We gave away more money at 4 degrees than I'd ever thought I'd give away my life.
Yeah, that's cool.
We impacted so many things, but then I'm seeing this other side of like, what does that look like? And the more I guess we have on here and kind of talk through, it's like this, I think you're constantly navigating it. Because I know that because right now I'd tell you that, I want to be out of this. I want to go spend time with my daughter and do that. Well, she's at school 8 hours a day. Yeah. I would get bored. I know myself well enough where I need whatever that piece is. And so it's, but that's good advice. I might take that one up, but because now I'm enjoying life.
If you go, I'll go with you.
Okay.
It's in April. I'll send you the details.
Okay.
But I think like 10 or 15 of my guys are going, but if you go, I'll go.
Okay. If you go, I'll go. Yeah. If you jump, I'll jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I'm enjoying it more. Cause now it's like getting I got my MBA before I ever started.
You just got to let me make fun of you if you cry.
Yeah.
Because I cry every time I go.
Oh, yeah.
So if I see you cry,
I don't mind crying.
I'll do like a little zoom in.
He's coming.
I'll send it to Keith.
It's a lead up.
Send it to Keith. There's this one exercise where he makes you take a picture and then you sit there and look at yourself. Oh, fuck, dude. I get cooked every time. I'm like, I don't even cry. I'm just fucking cooked. I'm like, fuck you, burn off.
What are you doing?
Like, fuck you tall dick.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, but it's fun, man.
I'll let you know. No, and I think for the first time, I'm probably like outside of still cleaning up a bunch, like most calm, I love what I do. I appreciate more of what I do. It just still got to get through it. So
yeah,
I think that's super helpful.
Well, dude. What a wild ride.
Yeah.
Talking about wizards and shit.
Talking about
the wizard episode.
I expected nothing less, by the way.
Dude.
I expected absolutely nothing less.
Fun.
Well, dude, appreciate you coming on, and man, we'll have to have you back for sure, especially if you guys go see.
Oh yeah, might be a live event down there.
Yeah.
Now that I know Tampien, I can now full Zach text him, give him shit. Hey, buddy, you.
I was gonna say you have been texting me more. As like I got to get to maybe meet you in person at some point.
You gonna go to this thing? Yeah. I'll troll. Maybe like 9:30. I'll just be sitting there watching shows. Hey, bro. You gonna
April
go?
5th?
Well,
that's good.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, man. Awesome. I'll have to do it again. All right, you guys, thanks for listening to today's episode. While you're out there, would you please do us a favor and give us a like, subscribe, or a follow, whether you listen on Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube. We'd really appreciate it. Also, if you don't mind while you're there, give us a 5-star review. Maybe write a review. If you have a favorite episode, feel free to give it a like. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate it.